Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Monday morning movie. And like I talked about last week, we're going to go over what the current information I have as far as testing at different resorts um, and what they're providing and what they're not providing. Again, this is all just basic information. Anything Absolutely everything needs to be confirmed before you travel to make sure that you know exactly what's going on. But this is just some guidelines to give you, maybe if you're looking for something. Um, so anyway, we're going to go over these and um, we'll get started. When I talk about these, obviously you've heard there's two different kinds of tests. One's an antigen test and one's a PCR test. Some of the places specify which test they're giving. Some specify the price of which test you're getting. And as far as when we talk about quarantine costs, so let's say for the sake of argument that you're at a Hard Rock um, resort and you're out of the country and you're getting ready to fly back and you test positive. And so now you can't board the airline to come back. You're going to have to stay someplace while you wait out the time until you can come back to the United States. So when I talk about quarantine times, though, that's what I'm talking about. Some of them have different times, different lengths of times that they do. Some of them are covered, some of them are not. So we'll go over all of that. So we'll start with the Hard Rock cafes, or the resorts, and so they will provide two tests on site for free. And if you have, say some kids with you, or you have two couples in a room, then the other additional test would be $50. They also provide a medical assistance kind of insurance program, and so if you test positive, then that medical assistance will cover your quarantine costs. I also did a little bit of research. I was quoting some trips to Cancun, and when we talk about quarantine, I wasn't exactly sure what they were going to expect. They are actually talking about quarantining. So if you test positive, then you're going to have to stay in your room. You're going to have complete room service, whatever it is that you want or ask. All of that is usually contact free. And so unfortunately, you're not going to be able to just, lounge around the pool for another 14 days. You're going to be in your room to make sure that you don't get anybody else or spread the virus anywhere else. So when you're going to be quarantining, you're going to be in your room. You're still going to have all the food, all the beverage, all that stuff. You just won't have the ability to go to the pool or go around the resorts or go anywhere else. So AM Resorts, those are like Now, Secrets, Dreams, Sunscape, Breathless, and Zoetry. They're providing free on-site testing, and their quarantine costs are covered by the resort. Barcelona Resorts have no on-site testing, and they've negotiated special rates for you as one of their guests to get a test. So that's one of the things that you need to at least consider when you're trying to decide where you're going to go to on vacation. The couples resorts are providing free testing. It does not, however, specify that it's on site. I'm assuming most of them are, but this one specifically does not say on site. Anytime I say free on-site testing. That means that their documentation actually said that it would be right there at the resort. Excellence Collection has free on-site testing. Also, if I don't mention any quarantine period, that's because their policy doesn't mention it. So I don't know what like the couples in Excellence Collection Resorts. I don't know what their quarantine policy is because they didn't provide it in their documentation. Iberostar Resorts are free on-site testing, and they have a 10-day extension of stay that would be covered by the resort. So that's a good coverage. Charisma Resorts, free on-site testing and a covered quarantine period. So that's good. Majestic Resorts, their testing costs are between $30 and $100 depending on which test. And which resort actually. So I think their antigen testing is 30 or 50 and their PCR test is 80 or 100. And some of those tests are available on site, but not all of them. So, and I think it was the PCR test at one of their locations that you would have to go off site to get taken. Palace Resorts, they have free on-site testing for up to 2 guests for antigen testing, and each additional guest would be $19 a piece. The PCR test is available, but you would have to pay for that. And they have a covered 14-day quarantine period there. Playa Resorts, which is Hyatt Ziva and Zilara, Panama Jacks, Jewel, and Sanctuary, they have a free antigen testing policy. They have up to 50% discount for the quarantine period. So they're not just going to give you a room for 14 days, but they are cutting the price up to 50% for that period. Rio Resorts, they have free on-site testing and up to a 10-day quarantine period covered. And Sandals has free on-site testing, and they're also providing a travel insurance plan. This is not in case you get you cancel or you get sick before you come, or you get delayed on your way there. This is strictly an insurance plan that they're providing for you in the cost of your stay in case you test positive prior to heading back home. And that insurance plan would cover 14 days of quarantine. And it also covers up to $100,000 per person of medical coverage. So that's pretty much what I have for the resorts and their testing. Like I told you, most of them are doing everything that they can to make sure that we can get visitors there and get visitors back. So we all just have to try and make it through this and do the best that we can. I just want to, before I go, I want to update you on the cruise lines and when they're expected to come back. Or I shouldn't say expected, I should say these are the current dates that they're planning on resuming sailing. In March, AMA Waterways, American Cruise Lines, Avalon Waterways, and Costa are all hoping to come back in March. April 1st, we see MSC, Seabourn, Silver Seas, and Viking planning on returning. May 1st is the big date right now. We have Carnival, Celebrity, Disney, Holland America, Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, Azamara, Crystal, Oceania, Regent Seven Seas, and Windstar. All of those are hoping that they're scheduled to start sailing again on May 1st. And on May 15th, we have Princess Cruise Lines planning on coming back. So that's what we have at this point. We're still we're really having a hard time with Alaska. I know that Alaska is one of the huge places where people like to go. one of the problems that we're having, or the big problem that we're having, is that there are rules and laws that the cruise lines have to abide by. And one of those is that you cannot, except for the Pride of America in Hawaii, you cannot leave an American port and come back to an American port without stopping at a foreign port. So you can't leave Seattle, go up to Alaska, stop in 3 or 4 different Alaskan sites, and then come back to Seattle without breaking those rules. And those rules come with some very heavy financial fines and penalties. So the cruise lines are absolutely not going to do that. The way that they get around that in Canada or in Alaska, is by stopping in Canada. Most of it is Vancouver. Canada is really being strict. They're not allowing anybody to come in off the cruise lines at this point. In fact, just recently, I think they said that there are no flights from Canada to Mexico or the Caribbean whatsoever. You just can't fly there, period. So we're all waiting with bated breath, we'll say, to see what happens with the Alaska cruise. It's not like everything else is already kicking off, and Alaska is the last thing hanging in there. So it's not the end of it, but I'm not real optimistic about Alaska. Let's hope everything comes around and we can get back there. But it looks like we're definitely going to get Caribbean and that sort of area a lot faster than we get Alaska back. So hope everybody has a good day, and we will see you next week. All right, let's talk some travel.